Hello everyone, this is Kimia Motley, and I am your domestic violence dragon slayer, because that's what I do. I slay domestic violence dragons. And I want to talk to you today about the 4 ways that abusive men view sex. You know why? Because today is Why Does He Do That Wednesday. I have not done one of these segments in a while, so I'm so excited about returning to it because I get so many questions asked of me as to why men do things. See, a lot of times people ask, why doesn't she just leave, instead of asking, why doesn't he stop abusing? Why won't he stop hitting? Why does he abuse in the first place? So that's what this segment wishes to help you understand. Now, I learned all of this stuff in various ways. Number 1 is my own life experiences. Many of you know my story. My ex-husband shot me and my daughter, and we lived. Go Jesus. Go Jesus, go Jesus. Well, because of that, I have been able to use my story to help other women not go through the same thing, okay? So I use my life experiences in these videos. Also, I attend lots of classes, I read lots of things, and I'm reading this awesome book. I've read it, like this is my 2nd time going through it. It's called Why Does He Do That? By Lundy Bancroft. If you are an advocate, you need this book in your life. If you have been through abuse, you need this book in your life, because I'm telling you, it totally sets you free. And I don't usually promote other people's books, especially when I haven't met them. But I love Lundy Bancroft, and I'd love to meet him someday. But that book will set you free. So as I'm reading it, my own experiences and things like that, it helps me to realize and see myself within the context. So I'm hoping that you do that as well. Okay, so let's get right into it. I want you to share this broadcast. Share it, because I promise you it'll save a life. It'll open up people's eyes of understanding, and it'll make women feel like, hey, this is really not my fault. Because we carry a lot of shame and guilt because of the abuse, okay? So, number 1, you're going to hear me say he or him a lot while I'm doing this video in terms of the abuser, when I'm referencing the abuser. Now, yes, I know that women abuse. I've had some men call me and contact me about it, but women report abuse far more than men. So for the purpose of this broadcast, when I'm talking about the abuser, I'm going to say he or him. When I'm talking about the victim, I'm going to say her or she. Okay? All right. Now, abusers' tactics don't really change much, or the reasons that they abuse. They want to have power and control over something in their lives, and they've been taught that they're supposed to have power over their woman. They want to try to lower your self-esteem because in doing so, it makes you more dependent upon him. If you don't feel capable, you feel like he is your only means of support, so it all works together back for him to have power and control. And ultimately, it's just to disrespect you. Okay? So, the 4 ways that abusive men view sex. Number 1. Well, before I get into that, let me just say that the things that I'm about to tell you are probably going to blow your mind, because some of us have been so programmed to think about sex and sexual abuse one way that what I'm going to tell you may not seem like sexual abuse, but if you think about it, ponder on it, you might see yourself in it. Okay? So number 1, your sexually abusive partner may not rape you in the traditional sense of the word rape. Okay? He may use name calling, saying that, oh, you're frigid, you're not sexy enough, things like that, to make you feel bad about yourself, and then thereby you give in. He might put the pressure on you. Like, there's some songs that talk about putting pressure on you. So what does that look like? Putting pressure on you may look like begging you at first, you know, please, 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 and then it may move to the name calling that I just talked about. Then it may move to if you fall asleep, he's not letting you sleep. He's waking you up with this same cycle of begging and insulting and begging and insulting, not letting you go to sleep until you what? You just give in. So I want you to know that sexual abuse may not look like rape. particularly. There are some men that do, and I talk about that in my book because it was done to me even in the context of my marriage. And there are some men who don't believe that you can rape your wife, but yes, you can. So number one, the number one way that abusive men view sex is that it's for him. It's not for you, it's for him. It's all about meeting his needs and not yours. Now, you might say, now, Kimmy, that's not true, because even though he does A, B, and C to me, which are negative, he does please me sexually. But in the mind of the abusive man, he's only doing that so that he can be viewed as some kind of sexual king or sexual superman. It's to feed his ego. Your sexual pleasure equates how great and awesome of a human he is. Okay? Number two, he believes that you owe him sex. It's owed to him. You don't have a right to say no unless you always say no. If you always say no, then you can always say no, and then thereby he doesn't have a right to your body. But the first time you say yes, he has a right to it. Now, for some men, that is the first time you have sex with him. From then on, you don't have a right to say no. For some men, it's once he gets married to you, your body is his property, you don't have a right to say no. For some men, it's when they move in with you. Once you do that, you don't have a right to say no. And in my case, it was once I got married. See, my ex-husband really viewed me as his property. And he even said so on our wedding night at our reception. And I thought, oh, that's so cute. Look at what he said. I'm going to read it to you in my book, Born of Violence, on page 61, I believe. Hold on. Let me find it. 61. Oh, yes. We're at the reception, girl. Or man, whoever's looking at this. And we were just about to say our adieus. He was about to kiss me. Yes, that's it. It says, at the end of the ceremony, Terrence grabbed me with both hands and dipped me towards the floor as he planted one of the most sensuous and loving kisses on me. I smiled from ear to ear and couldn't have been happier. I was on such a cloud that when he spoke to Kelly about the nature of her relationship, about the nature of my relationship with her, I didn't realize the seriousness of what he said. She is mine now. She been bought and paid for. He actually said that. Kelly and I laughed loudly. Terrence, I said, oh, okay, now what is that supposed to mean? Yes, she was my friend first, so you're going to have to share, said Kelly as she continued laughing. He started laughing too and said, that means that all that hanging out and talking y'all do is about to be put to an end. It's going to stop. We went right on laughing at the silliness of his statement, but only two of us were laughing at that point, and one person was very serious. So I thought, oh my, he said I'm his property. I've been bought and paid for. Oh, that's so cute. No, ma'am. He literally meant what he said, that I was not a human. I am his property. So if I am his property, you should be able to do what you want to do with your property when you want to do it, right? That includes having sex, even if you don't want to. Okay? So they view you as their property. Okay? The next thing, number 3, sex is all about power and control. 25% of abusive men cheat. 25%. That's 1/4 of them. They create this image of themselves as a super lover, you know, that Superman S on the chest, and they usually tell the other women stories like, oh, she just treats me so bad and I wish she acted like you. You know, that's why I want to be with you and not her. Or he might say, I'm going to leave her. I promise you, because I'm not happy with her, just as I get an opportunity to when my kids grow up, when she gets over this illness, when I don't have to pay child support anymore. I could think of a million excuses that I've heard, and they really don't mean any of it. They have one objective and one objective only, and that's to get, I think Steve Harvey calls it the cookie. It's to have sex with you. That's it. They don't have any intentions of leaving their wife or girlfriend for you. They just want the end game, and that's to have sex with you. Now, also, they want to look good to their boys. So if they're bragging to other men about the number of women that they've had, it makes them look, what? Powerful and in control. And maybe it's not about the number of women for them. It's just the fact that they have the cutest woman, the most beautiful woman, the sexiest woman on his arm. And in the end, that woman ends up feeling like, well, I'm just a trophy. I'm just an object. I'm not a person with real feelings or anything. Because the moment you gain weight, he's kicking you to the curb. The moment your beauty fades, he's kicking you to the curb, or he's getting what? Another woman. All right. So the last thing is he views you as a sex object. That you are, this kind of connects back to that second one that I told you about, you owing him sex. Those two go together, because the last thing is he views you as a sex object. So that means you are a machine that is used for his sexual purposes whenever and however he wants it. And you end up, if you've ever said, you know what, having sex with him makes me feel gross, you know, being with him makes me feel cheap, the things that he asked me to do ruins my self-esteem. If he's ever tried to put you out or say, hey, if you don't do it, another woman will, guess what? He thinks of you as a sex object. So ultimately, in his own way, he wants to draw you into being sexually dependent upon him. And this puts me in the mind of having dangerous spiritual soul ties with another person. And if you get yourself involved in a situation like that, sweetheart, the only way you're going to get out is if you have a good plan and God breaks those chains. Soul ties are not easy to break. Okay? So, if you are in a domestic violence situation and you feel like, I want to get out, just gave you a little snapshot today, you want to get out, then, or if you just don't know what to do, because you may decide, hey, I don't want to get out, I just want to know what to do, you need an advocate, number one. So go to domesticshelters.org, put your city, your state, or your zip in, and all these shelters will come up. You can call a shelter, speak with an advocate. You don't have to go to a shelter, but call one and say, hey, this is my situation, I need help, what should I do? And she will help you. Okay, then you're going to need a safety plan. Say it with me, safety plan. Safety plan. You need a safety plan, and then you need to get yourself involved in a good support group so you know you're not by yourself. And you need a bad word, counseling. Yes, we need counseling, because you cannot move on, you cannot be healthy unless you change your mindset and you change your heart. Okay, this is your girl Kimya Motley. I have got to go because my daughter's soccer practice is almost over. And so if you want to know more about domestic violence, you want to know more about our story, pick up my book, Born of Violence, on Amazon.com, or you can get it on my website, KimyaMotley.com. Kimya Motley. I will sign that sucker for you and get it in the mail, send it to you. If you want to book me to come speak to your church or women's group or your book club or whatever, you can do that on KimyaMotley.com as well. I love you all. Until next time, see you later. Have a great evening. Have a blessed one.